that celebrating or minimizing the death of the Queen is insensitive. That may be true, but in my view, it's even more insensitive to saturate our media with celebratory posts about a person who, for many people, is a symbol of genocide, colonization, and all the violent institutions that came with it. She was queen when Britain had to lead the war that destroyed my country. And just this year, she gave a knighthood to one of the main criminals. Some people.
Hello, Biafrans. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and I greet you wherever you are this day, the first day of October 2022. Today is Saturday, 1st of October 2022. And I have to come this morning. This is about 11:43 in Biafra land. Of course, the purpose of this broadcast and this coming at this time is because of the remembrance of the terror nation or terrorist country called Nigeria, which Britain actually went into agreement with the Fulanis on the 1st of October to steal, plunder, kill, maim, and to continue to steal the resources of Biafra people. I want to welcome you to this broadcast this morning. My name is Kelechi Ambrose, and this is Biafra Global Network. Please, I want you to share this video to all your social media platforms and let the people join us right now. And also, I want to tell you, if you have not subscribed to this channel, please subscribe to this channel so that you can have you, and also tell your friends and loved ones and people on your platforms to share and subscribe to the channel. Today, we are looking at the reaction of Biafra. You know, Biafra means Biafrans. Biafra as a whole, Biafra is a whole for the Biafran people. So the name Biafra is the whole, is the identity that we have as Biafra people. And today we are actually, rather than joining in the sham and stupid celebration where ignorance is celebrated globally by those who call themselves Nigerians, because they are deeply ignorant about the circumstances and the situation they have experienced. And so they will keep celebrating their death, they'll keep celebrating the evil that has encapsulated their lives, and they keep celebrating what is killing them. Today we are reacting angrily, rather than we remember the anger. We remember angrily what we have gone through, the things we are going through, and the situations we have found ourselves. Because of 1st of October 1960, today Fulanis are cutting the necks of our people. Because of 1st of October 1960, today Fulani is stealing and plundering our resources in Biafra land. Today, because of today, 1st of October 1960, the day that the Queen Elizabeth came around and deceived millions of people to think that they have granted them independence. They deceived the mass of people and made them think that they have actually been free. Many of our parents, our loved ones, were deceived in the month of October, 1st of October 1960. They were rejoicing, including those ones who call themselves intellectuals and who call themselves technocrats. They all were rejoicing in something they thought is freedom. They never knew that they were actually signing a Fulani British contract to subjugate them, to steal their resources, to kill them, to plunder, to take their belongings, to take their wives, to take their husbands, to take their children. They never knew that they were getting involved in something that actually is meant to destroy the generations to come. 1960, 1st of October, was another endorsement of colonialism in another pattern. It is called neocolonialism. Rather than them coming all out and you thinking that you are being colonized, they use the concept of proxy to hijack your economy. That is what is called neocolonialism, where your economy, the wealth that belongs to you, is hijacked, but they pretend to give you overpower. And this is one of the things that this lady on this video that I'm playing, I'm going to play again, said. The people were celebrating today, of course, 1st of October 1960, some years ago, 1960, Queen Elizabeth came into the shackles called Nigeria, and she handed over authority to Tafawa Balewa, to the Fulanis. She never handed to Nnamdi Azikiwe. She never handed to any of them. She only handed over to the Fulanis. Good morning. You're welcome, Mrs. Maureen Hinks. Thank you for joining me, and I'm happy you're here. You caught me here today again. Thank you so much, and good morning from here. And I hope you're enjoying today, the beginning of a new month, even if we are angry at the same time, because it reminds us of the deceit and manipulation that was done in 1960 to 1960, 1st of October. Now I'm going to play this video. I want you to listen to this lady. She's from the Indian, this Asian region. Now listen to her and hear what she said. Hear the things she said critically concerning the Queen. Now remember, before I play this video, remember the Queen, the late Queen, is the figure that represented the British Empire that colonized us in 1960. She represented them. She came with her team after Lord Lugard and others have done all the evils they did. She came that day after they have agreed and run a contract with the Fulanis, signed and sealed. That contract would have a sugar-coating name called independence. We were not actually independent. We were actually being sold into a contract where we are products of the contract, where we will be killed, we will be subjugated, and our properties will be taken. So that is why you saw the document we have been looking at, in the joint broadcast, where they said that they were interested in protecting their interests, and they were interested in supplying more arms for the future to secure their future interests. So now you see that contract that our people were celebrating, thinking that they were going into independence, was actually a contract of signing an agreement between Fulanis to sustain the British plundering of the people, to sustain the British taking of our economic strength, hijacked everything, and of course at the same time for the Fulanis also to have the opportunity to steal, because they will allow them to steal so that they will also maintain their own selfish ends. Of course, if the British doesn't allow them to continue to steal, the British will not be able to, they will not give the British peace. So the British needed to join forces with them to keep on the thieving so that they would also secure the British interest. And I want you to understand something, that the contract of 1960 has nothing to do with true independent nations. Because if they actually wanted true independence, they would have allowed Biafra to go at that 1960, to go on their own, to allow Oduduwa to go on their own, allow our Hausas to go on their own, allow other nations to go on their own. When you want to give independence, you free the people you have locked up in a contraption. Remember, in 1914, there was an amalgamation. They took Biafrans, they took Oduduwa people, they took Hausas, they took all the nations and brought them together. Now, that was a false unity. That was a false, country. When you have succeeded in putting us into a false country, you came into that territory of Nigeria, or that area you call Nigeria. You came into that territory, you saw the Biafra nation, you saw all these nations who are independently operating on their own. And you now came and brought them together. When you brought them together, you named them Nigeria. Now, in 1960, at the climax of you about leaving, when America was pressuring you to leave Africa, you decided to say you are granting them independence. Rather than taking them to their original formats, rather than allowing Biafrans to go as you met them, rather than allowing Oduduwa to go as you met them, rather than allowing the Hausas to go as you met them, rather than freeing all the nations and allowing them to go as you met them, you decided to still keep them in that name, which is your bond business name, that name that is a shackle that you have been using to steal from them, Nigeria, that name Nigeria, that you have been using to kill them, that name Nigeria, that you have been using to steal their resources. Remember the Asaba massacre of 1945 and all the killings that have been going on, the about women riots, all this stuff, and the women killing of the women. All of these killings were because of the bringing together of these nations in 1914, and of course that amalgamation that was forced, that's colonialism, that's forced slavery that they were actually carrying out on us. These were the factors that made that gave them the you know, that made slavery very flourishing and all of that. And now you say you are living in 1960. It came to the time of 1960. Rather than separating and bringing the people where they belong and allowing them go on their own as they are supposed to be, and as you met them, you refused to do that. And what you did was to still hold them together under that name that you used in binding them, in keeping them under your subjugation, in keeping them under your control, in keeping them under your thieving policy, in keeping them under your policy of plundering, killing, maiming, subjugation, and doing so much gruesome evil to them. That's injustice. That name Nigeria was your business company. That name Nigeria was your empire of stealing. You decided to sustain it rather than separating these people. You now told them that you have given them independence. And foolishly, the people at that point in time also believed that they had independence. I don't know why you will say you gave me independence and you still kept me under that name that you have used to bound me all this while. Now listen to this lady and the things she said in this video. I want you to listen carefully, please.
You're saying that celebrating or minimizing the death of the Queen is insensitive.
Now, this lady is reacting to the issue of the Queen Elizabeth who died, and saying that people are saying that minimizing or taking for granted or ignoring or just you know, treating with levity the issue of the Queen's death is insensitive. People are saying it is insensitive. Of course, it is very, 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 very sensitive, because the death of the Queen does not matter to us. The death of the Queen is not relevant to us. She has represented the death of millions. She has represented the stealing of trillions of dollars from Africa. The Queen, as at her death, was worth more than 17 trillion pounds. Now, do you know what 17 trillion pounds is? The income of Nigeria for some years cannot get you 17 trillion pounds. The Queen was richer than Africa. She was richer because that was her profit, what she is worth. Aside other things that were there, what she is worth, over 17 trillion pounds. So this lady is now saying that. Now remember, if we talk about independence or the sham independence, we're actually talking about the Queen, because the Queen is a representation of that deceit that was called independence. The Queen represented that deceit. The Queen was a total makeup of that deceit. The Queen was a complete representation or the icon of that deceit. They came and told Nnamdi Azikiwe and Awolowo and all these people that went to their nation to undergo education, to be schooled. They came back and they told them they are granting them independence. Rather than these people asking them, you are granting us independence. How? We're not yet independent because we are not seeing ourselves in our own nation, Oduduwa nation, Biafra nation, Hausa nation, and all of that. We're still in that name you gave us. How come you're telling us you are granting us independence? You can't bring us together, move us away from our sovereignty, bring us to a system called Nigeria that is under your control or that represents your name, registered under your company name, which represents your company name, and still tell us that you are granting us independence, and yet you still want us to retain that name. but they never knew that they have actually signed an agreement with the Fulanese. But you know what blinded these people? Just like Awolowo was, of course, certain. He was telling it strongly that he doesn't need to be in this system, that this system cannot work. Nnamdi Azikiwe was greedy because he wants to rule a place called Nigeria, where he's ruling the Hausas, the Fulanis, the Juguns, the Waris, the Bagis, the the Efiks, the different nations. He wants to be a president over everybody. So he was blinded. He refused to accept and see the reality. He was concerned about retaining his position or being a president of a contraption that is actually the British business. That was how they deceived our people, deceived our ancestors, and made them think that they actually gave them independence. But today we have been able, because we have studied and we know what is going on, we have been able to know that these people actually didn't give us independence. These people actually deceived us and made us think that we are independent. That is why we call it sham independence. The true independence would have come by referendum, and that is what we have decided to do in 2023. From now, we have already started the action. We are taking the actions. Our men are on ground. Our strong military, vibrant and confident men, and courageous men are on ground. If I say men, I mean men and women who belong to the alliance. We are on ground now. We have decided to get the true independence. Remember, 1st of October represents to us the day our rights was handed over to Fulanese after the British have taken it from us. It was now handed over to cattle rearers to control us for the British. 1st of October represents the day that the caliphate was sealed. The caliphate was given the order to come and take over the people. 1st of October represents the day that they formally gave over the control of our resources to the Fulanis to handle on their behalf. 1st of October represents to us the day that Usman Danfodio's program was formally endorsed, because through that sham independence, the Fulanis were given a false authority to control every other region on behalf of the British. And so on that platform, they didn't care if the Fulanis would overrun every other nation within the contraption, as long as the interest of the British is secure. 1st of October reminds us of why we are suffering today. 1st of October reminds us of how we have been, in the process. Groups like Ohaneze Ndibo were formed, Pandef, and all of these groups were formed under the contract between Fulani Caliphate and the British government. 1st of October reminds us of how every politician that has been ordained by this Stephen Ohaneze, Pandef, and every other body that is a product of the sham independence or the Fulani Caliphate formation, how they go to the Fulani Sokoto Caliphate and go to the Sokoto, the Sultan's place, to go and receive ordination to become a representation of their people. Like we have the politicians in our region who go to the north to be endorsed, to be blessed, or I call it to be cursed by the Fulanis to come and put the curse on their people. That is why when they come from that place, when they go to the Sokoto Caliphate, they come back evil, their hearts soiled, they become evil, they can kill their people, they can steal the resources, they can do everything they would do just to make sure that they sustain the identity of that caliphate, the identity of killing, the identity of stealing, the identity of corruption. Now, if you remember, check it what Hope Uzodimma is doing, or Hope Uzodinjo. His name, or anyways, let's call him by that name that we think that is his name, Hope Uzodimma, but that is not his, that's not what actually it means. So let's call him by that name. Now, this is a representation. Please share, please share, please share, please share this. Let people hear the true nature of 1st of October. Our people must come to understand that 1st of October is the day of sealing the contract. That celebration you saw that day was a celebration of the contract between Britain and the Fulani Caliphate. If you remember, the actual power was handed over to Amadu Tafa. Amadu, is it Amadu Belewa or Tafa Belewa? If you remember that day, you will see that it was the Fulani man that received the seal of authority. What does that tell you? That is why we are going through what we're going today. Now, this lady said something. She said, why would people are saying that it is insensitive to actually undermine the death of the queen? For God's sake, what relevance is the death of a woman who presided over global killings, genocide, and death, starvation, killing of children? What relevance is the death of that kind of person? What relevance is the death of that kind of person? What is the relevance? She sat and came to the zoo, she came to the contraption and deceived millions of people that they have been granted independence. Yet, the same independence, the name Nigeria was still sustained. The identity and seal written with the name Nigeria was still sustained. It was given to the so-called caliphate. That name Nigeria is a contract name or a business name for the promotion of their interest. They said they granted independence. Queen Elizabeth came, said they have granted independence, but yet they refused Biafra to be on its own like they came to meet it originally. They refused the nations to go on their own like they came to meet them originally. If you say we are independent, why are you keeping us in a contraption? Tessie Jones, wash hands, wash hands, wash hands. I don't know. Tessie Jones, please make us understand what wash hands mean. Because I always see you, is it that your system has a fault? When you type some stuff, it gives you error. Because I always see you having this wash hands. Even in our joint broadcast, I'll see this wash hands, wash hands, wash hands. Tessie Jones, maybe we are going to wash our hands off Nigeria. Maybe that's what you're saying. Now, listen to the lady.
That may be true, but in my view, it's even more insensitive to saturate our media with celebratory posts about a person who, for many people, is a symbol of genocide.
Did you hear that? It is evil. It is very insensitive to saturate our media with the posts and the information about someone who presided over genocide, presided over killings, presided over stealing, presided over so many evil. 1st of October reminds us that today, 1st of October 2022, see what Biafra land has become. See what oil exploration or exploitation has done to our land. Our land is in deep mess and shit. Our people are suffering. Our people are hungry. Our people are going through hell. Our people are going through stress. Our people are going through so many difficulties. Our people are committing suicide. Our children are dying. Our girls are raped. Our men are killed. Our women are raped. Our children are starvation, and all of that because of 1st October, which is a seal of Fulani and British culture that is a corruption to our people. Today, we remember this evil. Today, we are reacting to this evil. This lady is making you understand what the queen represented. And today, we remember the queen for the evil she did on the 1st of October. We remember her as long as she has gone into the grave, as much as she has gone into the grave. When it comes to celebrations like this that the zoo is celebrating, this kind of evil celebration that they are celebrating, we will always remember this woman for her evil deeds and for her evil actions and for everything she has done against us. Listen to this lady.
Colonization and all the violent institutions that came with it. She was queen when Britain had to leave the war that destroyed my country. And just
she was queen that supervised the war that destroyed her country. If you are a Biafran, you don't know what the queen represents. She represented 1967 genocide. She represented the subjugation that you feel and what has happened to Biafra. She represents the reason why you are going around, your children are being killed, your brothers are being killed, you cannot go around today freely. She represents all the evil that we are experiencing under that contraption name called Nigeria. That is what this woman represents. So when you hear of 1st of October, she presided over it, signing the contract, giving it to the Fulanis, and today the Fulanis are killing us based on that contract. Who would have given Fulanis authority? Who would have given Fulanis the power to come up viciously this way, sending militias from all over the place, from the Sahel, from Futa Jalon, and all those places, coming into our land to kill our people? Who would have done that if not that the British gave them the power at 1st of October 1960? That is why we're suffering. That is why we're going through hell. I want to remind you today, I'll play this video once, and I'm going to say something, and I'm going to end this broadcast.
this year, she gave a knighthood to one of the main criminals. Some people are saying that celebrating, minimizing the death of the Queen is insensitive. That may be true, but in my view, it's even more insensitive to saturate our media with celebratory posts about a person who, for many people, is a symbol of genocide, colonization, and all the violent institutions that came with it.
She is a symbol of genocide, colonization, and all the viral institutions that came about because of what she has done. 1st of October, she presided over signing that contract that will cause genocide in Biafra land to Biafra people. She presided over every viral. What is a virus? A virus is something that is destructive. Go and check the meaning of virus. A virus is never anything positive. She represents a viral institution spread all over the nations of the world where the British had their grip and subjugative and power. She presided over the killings, the wars, the woes that the people are experiencing. Today, you can't send your children to school. It is because of Queen Elizabeth. Today, 1st of October, we remember all of that evil. And I want you to know that we are not celebrating. Today is our day of raising funds to defeat that concept of Queen Elizabeth. And I want you to be part of the fundraising today, this evening. We want to defeat the reason. That 1st of October wickedness, we want to defeat it. And we have started. We need funds to do this. Join in the fundraising. Join in sharing this broadcast. Join in sharing this broadcast at Creativa Verde. Thanks for the love. I love you too. Thank you. Join in sharing. Please share this video. Let the people hear from wherever they are. Let them hear the gospel that today we have decided we are going to crumble that edifice. That's their system. We're going to crumble it. We're going to destroy it. Thank you for joining me. I'm going to continue the B part of this broadcast in conjunction with the principles that Fela Anikula Kwakuti created out of this concept. The principles from Fela's ideology. I'm going to begin it from tomorrow in continuation of the Fela's ideology that actually explains the situation we're in. I'll continue tomorrow. Please join this broadcast, share this on all your social media platforms, and subscribe to this channel. Thank you so much for joining. Wherever you are, don't join and participate in their sham celebration, because you will only be celebrating the genocide, the killings, the hunger, and everything you're going through. That is what it means, and we are not part of it. We pray for Mazin Nnamdi Kanu wherever he is, and we say we love him, and we say we cherish him. Thank you so much, my brother. I'm happy to see the dragon behind you, and it's Prodoto Fati, a creative word verde. Oh, thank you so much. I'll have to end the broadcast. Tomorrow, join me 1 p.m. Biafra time, and we're going to continue this together. Thank you.